History through Art, Middle Ages, Part 3. Find the proper English equivalents. Принять христианство, to adopt Christianity. Мусульмане, Muslims. Римский папа, Pope. Крестовый поход, Crusade. Торговый путь, Trade Route. Восток страны Востока, East. Строительные технологии, Building Techniques. Новый метод возведения сводов, a new method of voting. Просто украшенный, simply adorned. Патронесса, покровительница, patroness. Маячить, неясно вырисовываться, loom. Земное существование, earthly existence. Acropolis. Вечное прощение, eternal grace. Горожанин, townspeople. Горожане, townspeople. Символический, symbolic. Compile a list of words and word combinations pertaining to the Gothic and Romanesque church style. Speak about the two church styles. There are two church styles, Romanesque and Gothic. Romanesque, a fortress, simple and solid. Gothic, a skeleton, complex, infinite, lazy. Romanesque, flat, masculine, simply adorned. Gothic, three-dimensional, feminine, richly embroidered, with deeply recessed doorways that seem to welcome, rather than exclude, the outside world. Questions to answer. When did the famous Crusades begin? Who launched them? The popes launched the famous Crusades began at the end of the 11th century. What were the economic and spiritual consequences of the Crusades? All over Europe, cities began to develop as a result of increased commerce. All these factors combined to bring about an amazing burst of religions, architectural energy about the year 1000. When did an amazing burst of religious architectural energy take place? An amazing burst of religious architectural energy took place about the 1000 year. What new building techniques were assimilated during the Middle Ages? During the Middle Ages, such new building techniques as Gothic were assimilated. Why were Gothic churches often named Notre Dame? Gothic churches were often named Notre Dame, Our Lady. The legend of a virgin bloomed all over Europe. What was the spiritual and physical center of medieval town? The church was the spiritual and physical center of medieval town. Fill in the gaps, use the above given words and word combinations. Translate the utterance into good Russian. By the 11th century, the character of medieval life had begun to change. The pagan barbarians who settled all over Europe had adopted Christianity. Western Europe had a common enemy, Muslims, who had taken over the Holy Land. The popes launched the famous Crusades, began at the end of the 11th century. К XI веку характер средневековой жизни начал меняться. Варвары и язычники, расселившиеся по всей Европе, приняли христианство. У Западной Европы был общий враг, мусульмане, который захватил Святую Землю. Папа Римский запустили знаменитые крестовые походы, которые начались в конце XI века. Early medieval towns had often begun as a group of houses clustered for protection near a castle or a monastery. The church loomed above the townspeople. It cast its influence throughout their lives. Around it clustered the burghers, houses overcrowded and unsanitary. At the well or fountain in the square before the church, the townspeople gathered daily. Раннесредневековые города часто начинались как группа домов, сгруппированных для защиты рядом с замком или монастырем. Церковь возвышалась над горожанами. Это оказало свое влияние на всю их жизнь. Вокруг нее теснились дома бюргеров, переполненные и антисанитарные. У колодца или фонтана на площади перед церковью горожане собирались ежедневно. Medieval man imagined his church to be the symbolic body of Christ, into which men entered to become one with God, like the soaring piers, which sweep together at the great height into the vaulted ceiling. Christian man in the Middle Ages stood firmly rooted in the hardships of his earthly existence, but within the rich and mysterious light of his cathedrals, he aspired upward to eternal grace and salvation. Средневековый человек воображал, что его церковь – это символическое тело Христа, в которое люди вошли, чтобы стать единым с Богом. Подобно парящим опорам, которые сходятся на огромной высоте к сводчатому потолку, христианский человек в средние века прочно укоренился в тяготах своего земного существования. Но в богатом таинственном свете своих соборов он стремился ввысь к вечной благодати и к спасению.